Welcome back to DA's Administration 1, FR100. My name is David, and I will be your instructor for this learning module. In this module, you will learn about user profiles and data. DA's provides two features for handling user data: Frame Enterprise Profiles and Personal Drives. Let's get started. Recall that non-persistent desktops are reset back to the last published image state after each session ends. A user who requests a session will not always be given the same workload VM each time, and in many cases, may get a VM that is created shortly before their session begins. So what happens when you need certain files, configurations, or data to be available for a user each time they start a session? This is referred to as a user's profile. Items such as the OS settings, start menu items, application settings and data, folders like My Documents, and browser bookmarks, history, and cookies. There are several options available for you to select from, including third-party solutions. DA's includes a solution called Frame Enterprise Profiles, which is easily enabled. Other options include Windows Roaming Profiles, FSLogix, or Liquidware Profile Unity. What works best for your use case will depend on the size, scale, and geographic setup of your data center and end users. Personal drives are secondary disks that are attached at boot time for the user. These are not the same as enterprise profile drives, however, can be useful for providing additional space to users that require persistent storage. Enabling personal drives can be quickly and easily turned on by administrators, and drive size can be set. Space can be added later if needed. When using enterprise profiles, it is important to understand how the session is initiated. Following the flow in this diagram, a Launchpad user authenticates with the identity profile, then requests a session. The DA's control plane orchestrates the assignment of the workload VM. As part of the assignment, the profile disk is overlaid onto the desktop's file system with that user's profile. The OS login process is completed, and the desktop contains the settings and application data the end user expects. When the user logs out, any changes to their profile data is saved onto the profile disk for the next session. As a disclaimer, this explanation only applies to the built-in feature provided by the Frame platform. While other solutions may work in a similar way, they are not discussed here. Please refer to the documentation from those vendors for more information. From the end-user workflow, Enterprise Profiles provides a seamless experience as illustrated in this slide. The user is presented with a login page and accesses their assigned Launchpad. They request a session for a desktop or application. In the background, the user profile volume is attached based on a mapping to their unique user ID. For domain-joined machines, their domain user will be used as permissions. The session is then displayed and the user does their work. Once the session is closed, the volume is detached and the changes are saved. If you are deciding which profile solution to select, here are some considerations when using Frame Enterprise Profiles. An enterprise profile cannot be shared across multiple Frame accounts. This means that if you plan to allow a user access to desktops in different cloud providers or regions, their profile will not be available in those other accounts. Secure anonymous token-based authentication is not compatible with enterprise profiles or personal drives. For Windows, enterprise profiles can be used in both domain-joined and non-domain-joined accounts. If an account is joined to a domain, users must log into the Frame instance using their Active Directory credentials. For Windows, drive letters U and B cannot be mapped or in use. These are reserved for the backend implementation of enterprise profiles. As explained earlier, session initiation for enterprise profiles increases the time required to establish a Frame session due to the extra steps needed to attach and overlay the file system. The time will of course vary by size and complexity of what is stored within the profile data. Because the enterprise profiles uses a secondary storage mechanism, the backend implementation may vary depending on the infrastructure provider. Lastly, you may need to specify inclusion or exclusions for various paths in your environment to prevent size overruns or simply to optimize the profile disk. Refer to the documentation for more details on how to do this. Okay, let's review. Frame Enterprise Profiles use a secondary disk attached at session start for users of non-persistent desktops. This profile stores settings and data specific for the user's sessions within a single Frame account. Enabling enterprise profiles may impact login times and may be used in domain-joined scenarios. Personal drives are a secondary mapped disk which may be attached and used by a user for storing files and other data. It is equivalent to adding a second hard drive and is also attached at session start. This concludes the lesson module. Be sure to check out the other videos in the series that make up the full course. Thanks so much for watching.